Well, hello and good evening, and welcome to a edición dominical de la CantinaMX podcast, special Sunday edition, post Vespers, as I'm sure for all of us, post World Series, where the Dodgers yet again, the Dodgers, Joel, are turning into the Monterrey of
Not the Cruz Azul.
No, the Monterrey, because this is the second time that they're watching somebody else hoist a trophy in their own house.
That did happen to the Rayados.
That's right.
They lost two finals in a row.
Tigres has won a title at the Tamalera, and Monterrey has not.
Ouch! But I would say a combination, because La Cruz Azularon a few times.
Well, they did. Joel Aceves joins us from Orange County, California. I am in Dallas, Texas. Just finished producing a couple of shows for Fox Sports Southwest. It all worked out very nicely. Happy that we did that. I am thrilled that we're on here on a special Sunday edition. It's hopefully going to be doing a few more of these as the schedule permits. So we will be sure to get started. But most importantly, you can always download this podcast from the podcast center on iTunes, also on Google Play. And if you subscribe to it, then you don't have to download it at all. You're just going to get a notification that says, "Estos pendejos grabaron otra." And so please, by all means, take the time to do that. Joel, glad to have you with us this evening here on the CantinaMX podcast, special Sunday edition. The Liguilla, Joel, is getting very close. There's only 3 weeks left, Joel. Nobody has officially qualified because there's a 9-point difference between first and eighth. However, there are a handful of teams, Joel, that have crossed the mythical threshold of in most normal circumstances is the minimum number of points needed to enter the Liguilla. You say how many points is that, Joel?
26.
20. Joel, last year it was 25. Now you're saying 26. 26
No,
points.
I mean it was, but to me it's always been that if you get to 26, you're pretty much in the Liguilla.
You're gonna have to have a major catastrophe for not to make that. Well, as it turns out, there are 4 teams, Joel, 4 teams right now, as you and I are recording this podcast that have crossed. And that have made it to that line, and those are Pumas with 26 points, Cruz Azul with 27 points, Santos with 28 points, and America with 28 points. So 4 teams in your mind have already qualified for the Liguilla.
Yeah. I mean, it's you have to lose all your games, and then you also need a combination of results. So I mean, it's pretty much a calamity at this point which we've seen happen, but the odds are pretty minimum. If you go to the betting houses, I guarantee you those teams are, for qualifying.
They're off the board. You have to spend a lot of money to make some money there.
Yeah, they're placing them. But just to say, Pumas. I wanted to start with Pumas, John.
I think you should. I think we should start every podcast with Pumas.
Well, it was a big win that they pulled out of the Caliente Stadium. That was huge to take those points, and there was a missed penalty, which for Tijuana. But I think this was the key win for them, and I remember we were going through the calendar, John. And we were seeing how tough Pumas is going to have it. So basically, next week they host Cruz Azul. And then they travel to Toluca and they close against Santos.
Right.
So those are all...
The one game that they absolutely, positively had to have in order for them to have any kind of aspirations for making it was the Tijuana game. They had to win the Tijuana game.
Yeah, and it was away, it's always tougher,
And Pumas, I'll be honest with you, since Tijuana's been in the league, I think Pumas has only won in Tijuana once.
Yeah, yeah. And Tijuana's season has been topsy turvy. So they're in 14th place right now. Uh, you know, they've been pretty unpredictable team. Uh, the TJ the TJ franchise.
So
Let's
so Pumas closed the season, Joel, and I'm going to go back 1 week
yeah
with Tigres. So 4 out of the 5 teams they're finishing the season with are teams that are currently in the zona de clasificación,
yeah
and so it was you said Santos, Cruz Azul, Toluca. Well, those 3 teams that are left are in the top 5, and the Pumas is the other. The other team, America, is the other.
yeah. And Toluca is they were finalists. Toluca and Santos played last season's final. So both teams qualifying, that's a big thing as well because usually the odds are like if a team makes it to the final, there's a 60% chance that one of those clubs will not qualify to the ensuing Liguilla.
I'm gonna wager to guess, Joel, that percentage is higher between the Apertura and the Clausura than it is between the Clausura and the Apertura, because if you're in the Liguilla and you make it to the final, you're playing into December, where the other teams are
Yeah.
already having their quote unquote pretemporada. So
Yes.
so you're having to start to play the league ice cold after winning.
Yeah. And and like Santos could have been that team not qualifying because at the start of the season they sold their 3 best players. They had Di Giannini, who was the league's top scorer. They sold Izquierdos, who went to Boca, and he was arguably the best foreign defender, and Nestor Araujo, arguably the best Mexican defender in Liga MX. So to get rid of those top 3 players, people weren't expecting much. And then a few games into the season, they sacked their coach, who was the one that had guided them to a pretty good league championship win. Uh,
There was talk even of him being a candidate for the national team. Siboldi
yeah,
is the guy's name.
yeah, Siboldi, and so I mean everyone was expecting Santos to crash, but here they are, man. They're in I believe second place right now.
Santos is,
Of the,
is is in second place on whatever the tiebreaker is, but they have the same amount of points
what that's yeah
as
Santos.
America.
Yeah,
There's a reason, Joel, that we sing Santos's praises on this show, and have for the better part of the. Pretty much since we've been doing the podcast. I mean, it's a team that I hold in extremely high regard. Aside
yes,
from the cowboy, when the worst move that a team has made since you've been the owner is that you wore a cowboy hat shaped construction hat. If that's the worst thing you've done as a team president, you're doing a pretty good job. And
and he worried why they upgraded their stadium.
they have,
Um,
they have a terrific striker who's having another amazing. They're gonna
with the 2 strikers because they have the Uruguayo,
right.
and he had not, he wasn't delivering. Well, he wasn't being consistent, but they held on to him, and this season he's amongst the top goal scorers.
Is there a team that frankly strikes gold more than Santos does
You
in
know,
Liga MX, so as far as
it,
getting strikers?
I would say it was Tecos, but I think Santos set that standard. Like they took the baton and raised it higher because, like I said before, Tecos used to have Sebastian Abreu. They had Reinaldo Nava. They had Tony Setti. They've had a couple. You know, I think if I'm not mistaken, Bofo came from. Yeah, Bofo came out of. They always had a lot of good players, but the team was never as successful as Santos has been.
No, they haven't. And Santos has been, since they've been in the league for the past, what would it be, 25 years. The I mean, the fact that they've won titles, that they've had moments where they've struggled. Yes, they have certainly done that. But over the past, and I'm looking at the list right here. I was since the torneos cortos. These are the líderes de goleo that Santos has had. They had Gabriel Caballero, who apparently was Jared, who did it twice. They had Vuoso, who did it twice. Christian Benitez. And Gianni Tavares, and now they're going to have Furchaso.
Yeah.
So again, did I skip one? No. And here's the list in the same since the torneos cortos of Chivas players. Let's see, help me out. Oh, there's one. Look at that, Omar Bravo, and Javier Hernandez, and that's it. So in over 20 years of torneos cortos. Now, mind you, that's 22 seasons on one side and 22 to 44 official seasons. Only two Chivas players have been líderes de goleo in Liga MX.
Yeah, it hasn't been promising.
And the last time a Mexican player did it, we had Ángel Reina did it in 2011, and then it was Javier, and then Omar Bravo, and then Jared. And Everaldo Mejines, Jesus Olalde, Luis Garcia, Carlos Hermosillo, Luis Garcia, Sergio Lira, Hugo Sanchez. Hugo Sanchez only did it once, but that was because in the 4 years that he played with Pumas, Caviño was on the team as well. Enrique Borja, Chava Reyes, Adalberto López, El Moco López. There you have it, Joel. So Santos, a team who's done very well in getting those players. They've done it again. A very well-run team. They have bought well. They have sold well.
Yeah,
and they win.
They sold Marquezin, to America, and they haven't struggled in the with the goalkeeper. A lot of times teams take a while to recover when they sell a really good player, but they just they've had. I'll say they got really good scouting, really good. I think there's a lot of things that they're doing right at Santos, and I think Chivas could learn a lot from them. I think,
Well, Santos, I mean, because of the fact that Iri is the hardest name in the world to pronounce, Iragorri. Because of the fact that his entire business is the team. He's obviously put a lot of thought and effort into it, and the proof is in the pudding. I mean, Santos again, very consistent. They buy well, they say well. They're generating a good number of players. Now, the area I think where they can probably do a little better is maybe have a little more consistency at the head coach position. But again, it's a team that wins.
Yeah.
And they won again over the weekend. They have 28 points, and then frankly, they along with America and Cruz Azul, or any one of the three could win it.
And we talk about the Chiva comment, how the team wins every 10 years.
Yes.
So Santos has got it down to about 4.
Right.
Which is not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. And they've gotten lucky in some cases, but again, Santos has been consistent. They are consistently in the Liguilla. And if they have a good season, then they usually do really well in the Liguilla as well. So I mean, if Santos has won, if they end up second or third, then the chances are pretty high that they are going to make a very deep run. Now they did once finish one year where they were just killing everybody, and they finished first. It was the year after they'd won the title in the Clausura from the year before, and Pumas beat as the 8th seed in 2007 by scoring like three just crazy not freak goals, but just like they just had like this moment where they scored 3 goals in like 10 minutes in the ida at Seoul, and then hung on for dear life to win to lose 4-2, but just barely eke by on goal differential. So yeah, it's then of course we have to talk about Cruz Azul and America that was very obviously were playing a game of not trying to give away too much because they're probably thinking that they might see each other again, and they're probably right.
Yeah, and it was that clásico. I like to call it clásico capitalino. I always hated clásico joven. I just I never the name just doesn't ring, But 0-0. It was a scoreless draw. Cruz Azul seemed like they could have gotten away with more. But I agree with you, John. I don't think these teams wanted to expose, themselves. I think they wanted to hold back in case they do meet again, which is pretty likely.
Keep their powder dry.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think, well, I don't know. I would say it's a good draw for Cruz Azul just because what it has meant for them, like the mental game and losing to America.
Right. So, Gignac, here's a list for you, Joel. Since we're talking about Liguilla, I think that folks should, it would certainly understand just how this is actually really impressive. This list of players. Okay, so the leading goal scorer in the Liguilla is, I mean, take a guess, but I know you know who it is.
Is the Frenchman?
No, not active player. Over in history.
Wait, what was the question again?
Máximos goleadores en las liguillas.
Oh, Maximo. Yeah, I'll say Cardoso is
with 43,
right up there, man.
Yeah, he had 43, and Jared is second with 41. So, but here come the gamers. So Garcia Aspe is third with 28. Carlos Hermosillo with 25, and then Sage with 25. Gaviño with 23. Benjamin Galindo with 20. Luis Garcia with 20. Oribe with 20. And Bofo with 19. So out of the top 10, and then Gignac is tied with Bofo. Out of the top 10 máximos goleadores en liguillas, eight of them are and Mexican, and also recent Mexicans. I mean, we're not talking like, well, of course it would have to be because of when the Liguilla started, but that is actually very interesting to me, Joel, that 7 of the 10 players that are in the top 10 are Mexican and gamers, all timers, guys that really brought it.
Yeah, but you also, we have guys that stayed in Liga MX. It's like Buffalo never really went abroad, neither did like Hermosillo. He went briefly. I think he played in Belgium for like one season. Aspe, just aside from like one season at River Plate. Luis Garcia was gone for like 2 years with Atletico de Madrid.
Yeah, he came back after the World Cup, I thought.
I never understood what he came back. He says, I guess he just didn't care to play abroad. He was scoring goals. So yeah, I never understood that from Luisito.
Maybe it was the fight
Yeah,
in '91.
yeah, but I think that was key as well. That these guys were staying home.
Well, sure, but I mean, think of how many foreign players have played in the Liguilla and have played, like a Carlos Reynoso or
Oh
or, or,
yeah,
or a Tuca even. I mean, guys that had those kinds of careers because there are plenty of those in Liga MX, and obviously, they're nowhere near. I only have the 10 on here, but
yeah. So well, some of the other guys in recent times, they would sell them abroad. Because like Rui Diaz, and got sold, and he scored a lot of goals in like short time he was at Morelia. He was just bagging them in. I think he scored over 40, which is like whoa. I was like,
right.
I did not, I didn't think he had that many.
So here's Cardoso, the Diablo Mayor himself. Let's see, in one Liguilla he scored five, and one of them won five. Then he had one where he scored eight. And another was seven, and another one with eight. So he had two Liguillas where he scored eight, and Jared had one where he scored nine. That's bananas, bananas. Now, one thing I will say for a player like Gaviño, those guys is that they only had one Liguilla. They get two Liguillas a year also, so we have to take that into consideration as far as
Yeah,
the
that
amount of
also
goals.
counts.
Yeah, because
That counts.
I bet you Gaviño played about half as many as Cardoso did, and he sat right on 23, so it's just half the amount of goals. All right, so we talked about the top half of the
Yeah.
bracket.
Well, just to close it off, I mean, because we've had praise for Santos and Cruz Azul, and I think Pumas in fourth. They've really done a great job, with the team, and Toluca as well. They're in fifth. In Monterrey, damn, Monterrey. Uh, they spend a lot of money. They're in sixth. They're probably not where the fans and the directiva want them to be. They paid the 17 million for Pizarro, and he hasn't been able to deliver. Uh, and but I don't say about America because they're in first, and that's Piojo, man. So I know there's a lot of people that don't like Piojo, but I think he's doing a good job, man, with the Aguilas, and they continue to have the best offense right now uh, in the league. Which right now I'm surprising to say that uh, UNAM is tied in second for best offense.
Now, how if I had my soundboard, I would play it. I would play Tucas.
John, if I were to tell you at the beginning of the season that Pumas was going to have one of the best offensivas of the season,
After getting rid of their striker.
after getting rid of their top striker, would you have believed me? I'm a bit surprised. I'm
I will
not.
answer truthfully by saying no chance in hell that I think that Pumas was going to have not only the season that they're having, but the fact that they are so offensive. And
Yeah,
the thing that makes Pumas play well right now, and I don't want to make this. Well, I do, but I don't want to make this all Pumas talk. Is that they actually have that they have people they can bring off the bench, which is something that they just hadn't had for 4 or 5 years. I mean, they can bring off Alistusa, who's been he got the game winner yesterday in Tijuana. So Patiño has options now. A lot of Pumas fans get a little tired. It's like, dude, it was nice that you made the change, but you should have made it 15 minutes ago. So people get tired of that. And I'm happy for Patiño because he had a star-crossed career, in my opinion. I think he was the one. He was before he got injured of that 93-94 team. He was the bus driver. He was the everything went through him. I mean, he was that player. So he obviously has a very players that have to see the whole field at all times. I think have a different understanding of the game, and hopefully it'll pan out for him because Pumas needs a coach that understands and appreciates and can flourish and thrive in the system that makes Pumas great, which is bringing in the experience and having the youth and everything, and it seems to have worked out well for them. But you're right about Piojo, Joel. It's excuse me, it is impressive the way that he has been able to consistently be the coach of the team that ends up with the most number of points at the end of the season, which in any other league would let you win the title.
Yeah, he's been very consistent. I think he doesn't get. I think that's what the selección does, man. The selección can turn you into a villain. Which, if I'm Matias Almeida, I might want to stay away from Mexico selección just for that. I mean, it's almost a given, we've seen very good coaches, be it Manolo Lapuente, his excellent career with Necaxa and what he did, and then winning with America. But sometimes the fans, man, it's like selective amnesia, and then they decide, what bits and pieces to remember, and that would be enough to, to have like a negative outlook on the coach. Well, I know Ojitos had like a terrible stint, right. But it took him a long time to win over some of the fans. And then same with what was this other guy? I keep forgetting his name.
La Puente.
Well, La Puente it surprises me because to me he's the opposite. He hasn't had that good, that good club career compared to some of these other guys, like compared to like La Puente. Wait, who did I say? Who did I say first?
Well, you said La Puente first.
Okay, that's what. No. Well, to me, La Volpe is opposite. I mean, because to me, like La Puente and like Ojitos, they had like better club career.
But you know what La Puente would say about our podcast, Joel?
What would he say?
Ese podcast, yo lo formé. That's what he would say about our podcast.
Yeah, no, like, so this dude, La Volpe is not, his career is not that good, but he had like that one game with Argentina that a lot of the fans remember, and they remember it a certain way. And that's enough, man. The fans really like that,
Yeah, well, I do think that Piojo is the bombero in waiting if things don't work out for Tata or whoever they bring in as the as the national team coach. And in fact, I give Piojo at least probably like right now like a 52-53% chance that he's the coach in Qatar, because the guy that they had before him ends up getting fired. So it's Monterrey, Joel, in the 6th spot. They have 23. Morelia with 22. Tigres with 20 is in 8th. And then still fighting for a spot, we have Pachuca with 19. Querétaro with 19. Puebla with 18. On the on life support, we have Guadalajara with 16. León with 16.
Oh, no.
Tijuana with 16.
John, that plug was pulled.
No, that's Joel. They still, with 3 games left, they're 4 points out. They still mathematically have a chance. That's all I'm saying. Mathematically, they still have a chance. And then eliminated for sure. Necaxa, Lobos, Guapan. Hey, I've seen strange things happen, Joel. There's 3 games left. 3 games left. Guadalajara could win all 3 games and leapfrog a bunch of teams. It can happen.
Well, yeah.
They can go on that patented 3-game win streak that goes. You can go from 10th to 4th, just like that.
Yeah, but the teams that they're playing, though, it's a tough bunch, man. I mean, they're closing against Tigres, and Tigres is still not qualified. So, I mean,
and they're playing Tigres at home in Guadalajara, which is not good for Guadalajara.
Yeah, yeah. Guadalajara plays better on the road. Wait, who else do they have here?
They have Pumas and León.
Yeah, León is
Puebla.
Wait. Okay, then.
Yeah, Puebla and León away, and then they have Tigres at home to close the season out.
Yeah, I forgot about those two because I I did have them with a mathematical chance, but some of the games that I had them that must win games they lost. So
Gotcha.
for me, they were not supposed to lose at home against Pumas. They were supposed to get points on the road against Lobos, which is it. I mean, the 3 points, and then not lose. Not losing at home is the big one, you know.
Well, I mean,
And
that is an art form that they haven't quite yet
yeah,
mastered, really, since the
we-
whole OmniLife
well, you
has
got
been online.
you gotta go back to Jornada 6 when they beat Necaxa 1-0, and that was like their last home win. Mati, the favorite of the Chi Hermanos, he went a whole season without winning. And then Chivas followed it up with a defeat against Pachuca, a 1-1 draw against Querétaro, uh, the 2-1 defeat against Pumas, and then another 2-1 defeat against Morelia. I think that's what, to me, cuts the season. You know, again, losing all those points at home. We've said it many times, the zombie life no pesa. That stadium's never been a fortress for Chivas, man.
It hasn't.
And yeah, that's just, yeah, no one fears a zombie life. I
Now, the
don't know
team
if
that
you
I want to talk
remember.
about.
Well,
Go
I don't
ahead.
know if you remember a few years back when, back before Veracruz crashed, you know.
Which
But
time?
that was, well, I'm going back to maybe like mid '90s,
Oh, okay.
around, and that was a tough venue to go into El Puerto, El Puerto Jarocho, to go into and play Veracruz, man, and play those midday games, and they would let the grass be a bit like high,
Right.
and it was just really tough games. Like even teams that were looking good, they'll go in there and they'll just struggle, man. If to give you a good example, it'll be like when Mexico is coasting through teams, but then they'll have to go into Honduras or San Salvador.
Right. They play a three
And
country
then you're like,
tournament.
what team is this, man? What happened? Like, all of a sudden it seems like these guys can't even trap the ball right. But a lot of times it's the venue, it's the bad pitch, it's the the temperature, all of these small things, they could affect.
No, you're absolutely right. And did they, with the humidity
Yeah,
and
there
the
you go.
heat, um, where I mean, it's like you're playing a game in a swamp essentially, down in the point. It's always hot, and after we heard personal accounts from Marquitos when he was living in Mexico City and he went over to Veracruz and he said that the place gets wild.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that is maybe when we do our hopefully there'll be in the Liga MX when we do our off season tour of stadiums, that would be that would definitely be one of the stops that we would have to make is there in Veracruz. Now the team I want to talk about, Joel, is Morelia, because quietly, Morelia has been very consistent. They did beat Chivas over the weekend, and
They
I know
did.
a lot of Chi hermanos were very worried that Carlos Fierro was going to be the one that ends up deciding the match either with a goal or assist. And they're in seventh place. I think that they have a pretty favorable. Well, as I say that, they have Tigres and Tijuana and Cruz Azul, but Cruz Azul by that point, will have already been qualified, so they really kind of have a game and a half where I would put money on Morelia as being one of the teams that there are 22 right now that makes it through. And frankly, the reality is that just by looking at this list, it's Toluca, Monterrey, Morelia, and Tigres, and unless Pachuca,
Well,
you know,
but John, me and Chiquis, we analyzed the calendar, and Pachuca to us has one of the easiest routes.
They do. They have Necaxa, Atlas, Chaflas, and León. So
Yeah, it's theirs for the taking. It's and León is little brother León. It's part of Grupo
right.
Pachuca. They are pretty much uh they could be eliminated. By then. They could get the call to just
Un
it
telefonazo.
happens. Yeah, like hey man, just field field the juveniles. Give him a shot.
Denle fogueo a los
We
chiquillos.
need to meet that quota of the what's the rule again? The
Del 2011.
2011 or
Pero,
the
pero, para,
2011.
pero para León es el you know, el
They'll
doble de minutos.
they'll meet that quota on the last match day. Just they'll throw all the
Right.
juveniles right there.
Yeah. So Querétaro has they have Santos, Veracruz, and Necaxa. So Querétaro also has a relatively, other than Santos, of course. But you're right. I think Pachuca and Tigres has Morelia, Puebla, and Guadalajara. So I think the Tigres is going to make. So I really don't think that Monterrey has Veracruz, Necaxa. Monterrey has Veracruz, Necaxa, Atlas. So I think it's going to be very difficult for unless Pachuca plays perfectly for them to surpass those other teams. It's going to be if any team ends up not making it, it's probably going to be Tigres.
Yeah, do you know what Tigres? There is a possibility they might end up, not making it. I mean, they couldn't beat Lobos Bua, man.
Did they really tie that game? I thought they were ahead.
Nah, it was hold on.
So Lobos Buap scored in the
It was a 2-2 draw, and it's like,
in the
and it was
87th
at
minute.
yeah, uh, and it was Masa Rodriguez that tied it. He's a good player, man.
Hey, Masa's had a terrific career. He's had a
Chivas
15-year
Picolín,
career.
man.
He's had a 15-year
He's
career.
he's as a defender, he's probably second only to Rafa
In the last 15 years, absolutely.
as far as like what they have achieved. Because this guy, he got to play in Copa Libertadores. He got to play Olympics. He got to play, what was it, 3 World
3
Cups?
World Cups, Champions League. He won a
He
title in
played champion.
Holland.
Yeah, he won a league title, and what was it with PSV? He's everywhere, man. I mean, that's quite the career to have, and I do think he should have been at Chivas, you know, instead of Lobos. And I mean, I think the fans always just hated on him.
It's
But
because he looked like a tronco.
yeah, but if you look at his stats, that one game, it was in the Brazil World Cup.
Oh, he was
The
had an
match,
incredible game. Yeah, it was
the match
outstanding.
against Brazil, his passing accuracy. he was he was like top 3 or something. I mean, you're playing Brazil in Brazil, man. That's with some of those players that they have. That's no easy feat.
No,
But I don't know, man. I guess he's just those players that. It was Borghetti had the same. A lot of people would always say Borghetti sucks, and if you look at his like stats, some of the records he like being all-time leading goal scorer for Mex, and then just the number of goals he was scoring league, and it's kind of incredible to hear that back then fans would always call him a tronco.
yeah, he's been a tronco for 15 years. I wish I could have a professional soccer
that type
career to be being a tronco for 15
that
years. Started everywhere I played. Played in 3 World Cups. Started 9 World Cup games in my career. Probably should have scored a goal against Uruguay, but we won't hold that against him. No, and Masa's been he's had a very solid career, and maybe it'll be Massa that ends up sticking the dagger in the gave Tigres the first shiv, and then let's see if other teams follow suit, because they are probably the most vulnerable. But I will say
Yeah.
this: if Tigres makes the Liguilla, look out.
Oh yeah, they definitely have that. They have the talent, you know.
Right.
Um, but look at their road. I mean,
It would
they're
not shock me at all, Joel, if Tigres said, you know what, for the first season, if we make it, great. But if we don't, no, let's not sweat it, because we really want to win the CONCACAF Champions League. We really want to win it. So it wouldn't shock me at all if they put all their eggs in the CONCACAF basket.
in that basket. Well, they're gonna travel to Morelia, which should be a very interesting game. Uh, and then they host Puebla, which I mean, their last two games should be pan comido,
Right.
Puebla and Chivas. But like you said, man, it's Liga MX. It could be very unpredictable. Morelia could beat Tigres. They do have that capacity, and then Puebla could lose points against either Puebla or Chivas, and that could be enough for some of the other teams to sneak up and take that spot. But to me, that would be a big fracaso,
That's what.
and it will make Tuca look pretty bad, man. Uh, I think because I still think he's one of the candidates. I know for a lot it seems like Tata is a done deal, especially with him turning down Atlanta. But I feel like it's still up for grabs, and I think Piojo Tuca are still like in the table. I,
Well, I don't think Yoho is a candidate to be the coach
he's the
here, but I do think that he's
oh the bombero.
the number, yeah, the guy, the first guy out of the bullpen for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
And
and
he'll
especially
and he'll do it happily, and he will do it happily.
and when especially because he did it once, and people always remember that. You know, like the Aguirre effect.
Right.
People remember that.
And then he'll go
Uh,
live in Miami like Aguirre did. And
well, let's talk a little bit about about Chivas, man. I know it's to me that the season's over. John still has some hope,
well,
but
you did tell the fans, and after week two, Joel, to go ahead and root for another team. So
oh, John, come on, that's a bit disparaging there.
that's I that is exactly what happened. I said, Joel, as a Chivas fan, is it time to should Chivas? I asked you. This was the question I asked. I said, should Chivas fans go on loan for the Apertura, because there's no point in watching? And you said yes. You said yes, they should, John. Yes, they should.
Well, see, I wasn't wrong.
Exactly. So
Um,
you should own it. You should own it. No, I mean, it was predictable when you get rid of your best players. Now here's the difference. Santos gets rid of their best players, but they're still managed because Santos had capable backups in place. You would think that Chivas also had people capable of assuming those roles, for the players that they ended up selling. And it just, for whatever reason, Chivas is an enigma to me, Juan, because they obviously have talented players, and they show flashes of it, once or twice a year. But to me, it is a problem that stems from the top down, and if there's no seriousness from the very top, which I don't think there is, and I don't think there has been for at least since 2006, when Vergara won his first title, because back then he was he was on top of everything. And now I don't think it's as important to him. They've got a guy that's running the show who, he's trying. I mean, I will give him the fact that he's trying, but I think he also alienates a lot of players. I just think that Chivas is a team that just needs some kind of new
well,
direction from the top, and just
yeah, no, you're right. You know what happens is players lose motivation because they see, Chivas become doesn't become a club where you wanna be at for a long time, which was one of the surprising comments that from players that's ah, estoy norteado, John. Uh, when Pulido and even Pizarro came in and they were talking about, yeah, we're gonna play and then go to Europe. They both said it, different, and I was like, it's almost laughable to me.
You're
I was
like
like,
slow down there, boy. Whoa.
one came for 20, other came for 17. You're not going anywhere, man. You're stuck here. But if you're already thinking of leaving and you still haven't even stepped on the pitch. I mean, that's just not the attitude, It used to be where you arrive at Chivas and you had it made as a player. You weren't seeing that club as a stepping stone,
Right.
other than to the national team. But that's it. You kind of made it, and I think that's players don't see it like that because just the club doesn't know how to treat its players. If you look at all the top players, the club send them out through the back door.
Well, you know what's going to end up happening, Joel, is that they're going to go to the Club World Cup and they're going to win their first match. And then did they draw? Is it Real Madrid? Is that who's in the Champions League?
Yeah, but if they play them, it won't be like, yeah, it's the champions from the last season's Champions League.
And Chofis is going to make Sergio Ramos look like such a little girl.
You think so, John?
That that when the Club World Cup is over and done with, people are gonna they're gonna go. His name is Javier Lopez, but they call him La Chofis for some reason. So it's gonna become La Chofis is gonna be worldwide trending. When he,
if you could get Sergio Ramos to give him Mo Salah type hack.
Exactly, or if he could like pretzel him the way that Messi did to Boateng those years ago.
Look at them. But no, what John, just to finish on that, with Vergara, you just see how he treated a lot of players and coaches, or it's like,
and then for Mati to have to, whether he had the type of show, but for them to pay bonuses out of his own pocket. I mean, this is Chivas we're talking about. Chivas is the kind of team that squelches on its commitment to the players. I mean, if just because of the tradition alone, I mean, if you have to be 100% committed to what you're doing, and the only way to do that is to keep the morale of the entire club up. And Chivas has, I mean, in my opinion, I know they won a championship a couple of years ago, but the Chivas morale again since about 2006 has been just terrible, just overall malaise. It's just andan enfermos, Chivas.
Well,
no andan bien.
Yeah, you needed, like, I think where they messed up, and then they did Higuera did own up to it, was when they sold Gallito, because Gallito is, he's a Liga MX. He's not those players that's thinking, okay, I'm gonna go to Europe or whatever. He's a lifer, He's like, all right, I'm happy here, but he's also been very consistent, all the clubs he's been at, he's won league championships with, and he's at Santos right now, he helped them, he's still helping them, and I think when you have players when you have a player like that, I mean, you hold on to him, So it's like what America did with Oribe Peralta. They had those players that excel in the league, and you make him a franchise player, and you pay him good, and you make sure that he's there as long till he retires.
It is el plan Peláez.
Yeah.
Do you think he's gonna, unless somebody makes a crazy offer for that kid Alvarado, is he gonna want to get rid of him? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was one of the big mistakes with Chivas, where they let go a player like that. Instead, they hold on to someone like Salcido, man, and I just Salcido must have incriminating photos because I think he overstayed, man. Here State is welcome. Um, but yeah, I think they should have probably gone for Massa, man. Be a more consistent guy. Uh, he
Yeah,
was he, you know, but they burn ties. The the way Vergara is, he burned ties with a lot of the players. Um, which is the
exactly. And you can't. I mean, you just can't run a team like that. It's it's
well, no, you're right, and this is the story with because there's talk of Vela, there's talk of America gunning for Vela, trying to bring him in at some point, which I'm guessing will happen, man. If the Televisa Supremos are dialing it in for you, I do think Vela would. And Vela already said, like in an interview, that he was not closing doors anywhere, and it's more likely that he would play at America than Chivas. And this is the story that I heard back when it happened, and then which was when Vela after the under 17 World Cup in 2005 when Arsenal took Vela, which was like Chivas had no say in it because he was under 18 and the FIFA rules, you know, you you can't have a player contract tied if they're under 18. So Chivas was pretty upset with Vela because he chose to leave. Uh,
right,
yeah, and that meant Arsenal only had to pay the formation fee, which is pretty cheap, man.
right.
So 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 Chivas had like about 3 or 4 players on that under 17 squad. And one thing Vergara did was he bought them all like cars. He bought them brand new cars. And so Vela showed up thinking he was gonna get his car, but he wasn't presented with a set of keys, man. And they say, well, because you're not a Chivas player no more, you don't get a car. And I think that's pretty messed up, man.
And don't think for a second because Chepo was the coach at the time, was he not?
um, 2005, I don't know, man. I don't. Why are you putting it on Chepolo, man? Come on. This was Vergara's gift, not.
No. What I'm saying is the whole Vela Chepo mess thing that they had in 2014. I think
Oh, you
that,
think?
that a part of it. I think that this absolutely had something to do with it. There's not a
You,
doubt in my mind.
yeah, but I don't. I wouldn't put it like for him because he was the coach, and his brother was the general manager, and as general manager,
So that happens.
one thing. But I'm gonna tell you one thing that Nestor
So is
did.
Vela.
No, but see,
Nestor is not good people, man. I keep telling you, he is not. He is not
yeah, but
the
he's
saint
always.
that you think he is.
Yeah, but he was there under his brother, and his brother has like Nestor has been like the final say because he's been like the GM, he's been on top, and one thing he did when he brought back when he got Marcos Fabian to come back, and then he Titan Salcedo, and he gave them contracts where if they had offers from Europe, it would facilitate their transfer.
Right.
So I mean, that was a big reason they both went to Chivas. So I mean, I think if he was like,
Well, I mean, they had
you
to learn
know,
their lesson.
yeah, but I don't think Nestor would tell this guy, hey, don't buy him a car, because I mean that's just kind of how Vergara like that to me seems like a very Vergara move because I remember when Chicharo when they announced his fichaje to Manchester United and they had Omar Bravo in the team. He had came back, from his
Right.
fracaso in Portugal, and then Vergara he takes the shiv and he says, "This how you leave the club from the front door, not through the back and all this." So to me
Yeah.
that's
So again, you're absolutely. I mean, it's just one example after another. of just a petty little man who just likes to humiliate and expose his players publicly. And again, are you trying to win championships, or are you just trying to stir up whatever it is you're trying to do? Because whatever you're doing ain't working, and it hasn't been working for quite a while. And again, as someone who is a very unbiased observer of Chivas and have been for years. I mean, that's why I say Chivas fans are it's tragically humorous the way that the Chivas fans have to deal with all this, because they're so loyal and they're so passionate about their team, and their team just does nothing but just disappoint them. And it's not like they're disappointing them by going to the final and losing. I'm sure that any Chivas fan would love to be disappointed like that, as compared to just these ridiculous pendejadas one after another, where it's just not even third world reasons for why your team is acting the way it is. It's just shocking the way that that Chivas has been operated. But Joel, we can't pretend that this is something that's a recent trend. I mean, this has kind of been the Chivas way for the better part of really since the Campeonísimo. I mean, it's always been drama.
Yeah, it's been poorly mismanaged. Just the whole team losing money. I would say going bankrupt. You know, when they had to loan the team out to La Promotora, and then
When they had to
Promotora.
use Mexlube.
Well, yeah, the Promotora that was the thing.
Do you
They
have
had
a
the
do you
they
have a
had the
go ahead.
well they had the contract. The Promotora, the dude running it, Martinez Garza. They landed a contract with Pemex to provide the lubricants, the oil. Um, and so for those that don't know, Pemex was the Mexican petrol company.
And still is.
Yeah, they're the national gasoline the country, and so there was this it's pretty crooked, under the table type of stuff, and the way that Martinez Garza ended up with the contract to do the oil, to provide it, and so that company became Mexlube. And you know who else was involved in that company, John? It was the Leaños who owned Tecos.
Do
So
uh do,
obviously,
do you have, Joel, a Mexlube branded Chivas shirt as part of your collection?
actually, I do. It has 9 stars because it was before they won the 10th with Tuca.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, and it has Pemex and Mexlube on the as the sponsors
Are you
in
a
Aero
fan?
Mexico.
Are you someone who uses Mexlube on a regular basis?
No, no, but it ties up because uh, a lot of Chi hermanos. You ask them if they know what because the stadium is called the Akron. You ask them what Akron is, and a lot of them they don't know. And Akron is actually oil for the car. It's car oil, and it's owned by the son of Martinez Garza, who used to have Mexlube. So the saying, John, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
That's
A
exactly
lot
right.
of the a lot of the same people still involved,
Meet the
but
old boss or meet the new boss, same as new.
but this dude, um, and so this is the '90s, so there was a lot of clubs were being used to launder money, or not just for drug money, other type, just crooked stuff, and
Right.
yeah, and so what ended up happening was that dude was mismanaging so many funds that the board, the Mexlube, the other owners, eventually got that dude kicked out. And then Mex Lube lost the whole contract with Pemex. But that all happened in, you know, in the ninth year because they had a 10-year lease of Chivas. And that was one of the big reasons they Vergara came in and bought the team, and he paid off the last year so he could take over it. Because originally he was gonna buy the team, but he was gonna take over after the year ended. But he ended up like buying off that last year, which is probably at wholesale, John. And but the thing was is like you had 9 years to fill the coffers to do all this, to try to like improve the club's finances, but they were never able to do it, and all the socios they just kind of sold out.
Right.
And it's like, why would you do that? Like, if you own stock in your favorite club, why would you do it? And the only thing I could come up with, John, is they were just losing money because they had to put money in. So to me, I think for the most part, they were just losing money. It was not worth it for a lot of these guys anymore.
So sad.
Yeah, and there's still,
if I
there's
had the sad flute, I would play the sad flute right now.
it would be, it would be, and there's still a few owners that have been like putting in lawsuits. And so one of the things that they did, because Chivas' name changed, uh, you know, the official name is changed because it used to be um, Club, was it Civil? The whole thing confuses me, John. The whole SA de CB, and then there's
Asociación Civil.
yeah, and then there's another one.
Yeah,
Oh
I can't
man,
help you.
yeah, Rano is good with that. Elik Ron, but he's not here. So one is like a Silva association, and the other one is like a
not for profit.
yeah, non for profit. So they switched it to like it switched from not profit to for profit.
Kind of like the CantinaMX podcast, but we're still working on the other end of it. So Joel, with 3 weeks left in the regular season for Liga MX, out
Yes.
of these 8 teams, América, Santos, Cruz Azul, Pumas, Toluca, Monterrey, Morelia, Tigres, is there any one of those 8 teams that you think will not be part of the big dance?
Oh man. Yeah, I think it's gonna be either Morelia or Tigres.
Morelia
One
or
of
Tigres?
one of those two. Yeah, it's not like the rest. Yeah, I just think it might be some slip up.
I think it's because I think all 8 of them are going to make it. I don't think that either of them are going to. I think they're going to do it. They're going to get the
You,
necessary points they need to.
you don't think Pachuca's gonna like sneak in and
No, because I don't. I mean, I do think that they do have the easiest path, but I just don't think that Pachuca has the discipline and the talent to. Excuse me, to get the points necessary. So I do think that the other teams are just better, and it's it's not like it's not like they're the other teams are playing world beaters. So I do think that they have some possible, and frankly, out of those, I guess and this is why I think for Liga MX, for the Liga MX brass to look at this Liguilla and go, outside of Guadalajara, who would be the other, maybe replace Guadalajara and Morelia. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better Liguilla with the teams that are in this: América, Santos, Cruz Azul, Pumas, Toluca, Monterrey, Morelia, Tigres. I mean, that is, again, the only team outside of that has any kind of popularity is Guadalajara, Chivas, who are not going to make. So that we could have had for the first time in forever, Liguilla with the Big Four, but as it turns out, that's not going to be the case because Chivas can't seem to win at home, and they can't get their act together.
Yeah, they really need a goal scorer, man, un goleador nato, and
Cheech, I think
it's
Cheech could come back.
you. You still think he's coming back to Mexico?
I think Chicharito. He's already made his millions, dude. He doesn't have to see the guys that went over to MLS, the Giovannis and the Velas of the world. They didn't get to sign that contract that Chicharito signed.
Yeah, but
But
Chicharito doesn't like. He hates the majority of the Mexican media, man. He does not want to see those dudes. He doesn't even give interviews. It's hard to get a Chicha interview, man.
yeah, well, I think that they'll manage. I
I
don't think
mean,
it's
if
going to be
he's
as important as think. And I just think that Chicharito wants to live in Guadalajara, man. He's got his friends and family,
hey,
his support system, his bases in Guadalajara. You know,
it's
again,
a 2 hour flight.
The
It's a
Giovannis and the
2 hour
Velas of
flight
the
from
world.
LA.
He's not going to LA.
Hey, if LAFC wanted him, man. Remember that, John.
They don't need him anymore. They moved
Yeah,
on to
yeah,
Plan
they
B,
do,
and
man.
Plan B has worked out very well. You
Yeah,
know,
but imagine that
Chicharo
duo.
hasn't scored a goal in like 3 months, man.
Yeah, but he doesn't even play. He doesn't start.
He did start
I
over the
mean,
weekend, but yeah, it's you know he was sick. He was infected. Wait, what did you give him? How last you guys saw? He got an infection.
I don't know
It took
what
him
he
a while
got,
to get.
man. But
Where
I've been.
you and him been hanging out?
Hey, he should have listened to me, and he should have cashed it in right after the World Cup. He
Yeah,
would
but the
have
thing
been
was is that
right there with
he didn't have.
Vela breaking records,
But that's the
watching
thing is that
Boros.
he doesn't have to cash it in, man. He
What?
got the big endorsement contracts. He got the big European contracts. The other guys didn't get that. You know, Chicharo is he. I'm telling you, I think that he's out of those three, he has more ties and very strong ties to Mexico than the other guys do, and that's the biggest. And let's face it, if Chicharo plays in Liga MX, he's going to make just as much money as he would in MLS.
I don't know, but I mean, again, he
Who
hates the media, man.
cares? Who
He
cares?
cares.
He
He
doesn't care.
cares.
He
Yeah.
goes back to Mexico all the time. That's where he spends his off seasons.
Well, John, I'll be surprised if he does return.
I just think it's part of his personality. I think it's who he is, and I think that he would return to finish off his career where it started. I don't think he'll go to MLS. I think that's just who he is.
Well, I think Chivas wouldn't be able to match what like Monterrey, Tigres, America could throw at him.
He's gonna finish his career with Leones Negros and playing or Atlas.
Leon,
You know, if I were Azteca, I would hold you, Chicharo. Come on, come play at Atlas.
he'll go play at Morelia where his old man used to play at.
That's where he grew up. Was in Morelia.
Yeah.
See, I do think he'll end up there. So Joel, no big surprises then. They're in the Liguilla. You think it could be Tigres or Morelia? I don't think it's gonna work out that way. I think they will all make the punt. And of course, when that happens, we will make our predictions. So Joel, the Dodgers are out. They lost the World Series tonight, 4-1. Boston beat them in every which way they could. Second consecutive World Series where the Dodger fans have had to watch another team celebrate winning a world championship on their own field. It's like they're the Monterrey of Major League Baseball right now, because Monterrey has had to watch other teams celebrate championships on their brand spanking new field.
Well, I think they could take comfort that they won the one game. They went to 18.
So it's like winning 2 games.
Innings.
So they really only lost 4-2, not 4-1.
Well, that's already on record as the longest World Series game ever. So at least they have that one good record.
Yeah, I like that is a very very optimistic way of looking at the fact that they got pretty much smoked in the other 4 games. But that's okay. That's okay. Glad to see that Emperador Suarez was a Dodgers fan.
Yeah, he was doing his carne asada.
He was wearing his Dodgers shirt. You know, Fernando is still calls. You know, you could have listened to Fernando tonight, Joel, calling the game there locally in Los Angeles.
So, I didn't know he didn't.
Yeah, no, he's one of the announcers on Dodgers in Espanol. So that's
is Jaime Jarrin still around?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he is or not. I don't, because it used to be those two for years. It was those two calling the game for years. But anyway, very sad. Well, Joel, I think we can probably wrap it up here. The CantinaMX podcast. We have been going at it for about half an hour. So anything we should any bits of wisdom, Joel, you can give our listeners as we embark on a new week? And maybe someone who is new to Liga MX and is not quite sure what to make of what could happen in these last few weeks. Is it going to be chalk? Is it going to be flan? The same teams win, or you think Pachuca is going to be the one that storms the castle and takes the last spot?
Well, yeah, we've always seen like teams come in, hit that hot streak. Is it that you're giving Chivas, Hermanos hope for? You're saying they could win their last three. To me, that could be Pachuca. But we've seen it in the past with Santos. Santos with Matosas as coach is how they won their league. They ended up qualifying in 8th.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of teams, and even Santos did that. Santos did that. Chivas has done it. Pumas has done it. When Pumas won their doblete, the second one, they finished 8th, and they beat Veracruz, who was 1, and then they ended up beating Monterrey in the final. So it has happened. That's why I would be very, if I end up, whether it's America or Santos, it ends up in first place. If you play Tigres in that first round, look out, because that's going to be a very, very difficult. And in fact, there's it's a 50-50 shot at best for you to advance in that. So those are definitely teams that you need to look out for. But I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think Tigres will probably end up like 5 or 6 when it's all said and done. They'll get the Tigres is going to start getting hot just for that. So
yeah, their rivals aren't. Yeah, slim pickings.
And they end with Chivas on the road, which is you can go ahead and put the 3 points on the board right now.
They already. Yeah. Well, the 31st, which will be Halloween. There's a Copa MX final, and it's going to be Cruz Azul versus Monterrey. So it's I think this game is, it's one of those games that's helping bring some prestige to the cup, which
I would love to see Pumas play a Copa MX final. They haven't. I don't think the furthest they've gone, I think, is the quarterfinals, which is just pathetic. But a
lot of clubs don't really take it serious. So I mean, they don't feel their best players, or they use it for their reserves.
I can think of a club that took it very seriously and did very well with it. Anyway, well, Joel, we're gonna go and wrap it up here. But glad that you were able to come on. Again, for your listeners, usually we do this on Thursdays, but with our upcoming schedules, Thursdays may or may not be the best night for us to do this. So we're going to try and get it in while I can. But the best way to catch us and listen to us is if you subscribe either to our YouTube page or if you subscribe to the podcast in the podcast center on iTunes or on Google Play. Then when those are posted, you will be able to listen to these babosadas for your your drive, to or from work, or however it is that you enjoy the CantinaMX podcast. And we do appreciate your patronage and your loyalty. So, Joel, we will.
Yeah.
Everything okay, Joel?
No, I had one of my muelas is not doing so good.
Ooh, that does not sound good. Get the pinzas out, Joel.
I'm gonna need to, yeah.
And take care of that. Well, glad to have you on, Joel. We will we'll talk again a little later, and we'll delve into some more hot topics.
Así es, John. Hasta la próxima.
Hasta la próxima, Joel. And thank you, loyal listener, for listening to us here in the CantinaMX podcast. My name is John Jagu, and we will talk to you guys a little on down the road. Thanks very much for joining us here in the CantinaMX podcast. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.